I was born to kill it. I was meant to win. I am down and willing, so I will find a way. It took a minute, now it didn't happen right away. When it get hot in the kitchen, you decide to stay. That's how it winners made. Stick a fork in the hater on my dinner plate. I walk into the fire like it's just a bit of flame. I switch my style up, watch the money pile up. I'ma get rich.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Clydesdale Media Podcast. My name is Scott Schweitzer. I'm the Clydesdale. She is the fittest American woman on the planet. Arielle Loewen, what's going on?
Hey, Scott. Good to talk to you. I've been seeing you do all these athlete interviews, and I'm like, okay, when is ours? I need to talk to my boy.
Yeah, so, well, anybody I did right before semifinals, I kind of put on hold to get some people that I didn't get before semis. And then, like, all the people I did at semis now are starting to kind of line up. And then I know, like, next week's kind of shut down for interviews. Like, as you get because not everybody's like you. Like, as we get closer to the games, like, they just kind of shut down.
Gotcha.
So yeah. Speaking of interviews I did, though, last week, one of them was Emma McQuaid.
Love it.
And we talked about you.
No way. I need to go back and listen.
So it's basically in the very beginning of the interview where we talked about her home gym and how you are copying her. And that when you grow up, you want to be just like her.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
And so we talked about why she built her gym, how she built it, why she wanted this space to her own, because she's very particular and very much likes things in certain places and all that. And it all seemed like, yeah, I've heard that from Arielle before.
You're not wrong. Hers is like the pinnacle. If ours can be 50% of what McQuaid has, I'll be one happy girl.
So I noticed you doing some framing last week.
Dillon, yes. The back gym has been on hold for almost 2 months because it's just been excruciating heat. And he's like, man, the last thing I want to do is work in the sun all day, get home from work in the back shop that's like a sauna, no AC. So it hasn't made much progress, but he did get the walls up, which he'll then put the decorative pieces on to make it look pretty.
I saw you lifting the framing.
Yeah, me and Dillon. He says he doesn't need me, but that thing is heavy. I know he needs me.
Yeah. What's really funny is I have friends here in Columbus who he's a two-time Masters champ. They bought a property because it had a barn on it.
Okay.
It also had a house, but they don't really care about the house. They just wanted the barn, and they're renovating it into a gym.
Cool. Will you work out there?
So it's not even close to being ready for a gym. But
gotcha.
What's funny is, he has the Masters games in September, and his wife is his coach, and she's like, you cannot spend all your time out there. We have to train. We have to
prioritize.
That's a fall project.
Exactly. That's an off-season thing. Yeah,
But,
so our goal was after the games, maybe opening September 1st in the off-season, but we have not made as much progress as we want. So now we're like, okay, maybe January 1st will be our opening date. But I think the off-season is already looking a little busy. Who knows if that'll even happen?
Well, you know what January 1st is, right?
The New Year.
It's my birthday.
Oh, that's right. And your birthday. Maybe we'll open on your birthday. You can be our special guest.
Yeah, with Rudy and the Lent in their barn, I think my next interview with them is going to be at the site, whether it's done or not, just to kind of see it kind of up and what, the construction, all that.
Yeah.
But I think that it's cool that all these athletes are doing this. And I think they may even try to affiliate too, like you and McQuaid did.
Cool. Is McQuaid affiliated?
It is.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's the way to go.
Yeah. I think that's good. There seems to be a trend with athletes making a better connection back to HQ. I'm interviewing Saxon Panchak tomorrow, and the big reason for that is we talked about that on our last show, that he needed to get a better connection with the community. Unlike you, who like to work out alone, like he missed that. And when he got injured at semis, he didn't have a support group around him.
Right.
And so he went back to like OG, working out an affiliate, doing all that stuff because he needed that environment.
That's awesome. I love that. See, I think I'm at a place where I don't necessarily want that for my training, but I want that because I feel like me and Dillon have so much to offer the community, and we don't really have a CrossFit community. And I feel like we would love them as much as they would love us, kind of like giving back. But also with that comes more responsibility. And right now I don't have much responsibility. It's me and Blakely. And if we're happy, we're taken care of, we're good. So like to have a gym on top of that makes me a little overwhelmed, but I'm like, it's not even built yet. Why even worry about it? We don't even have members. What's there to worry about?
I think that's what's cool about when you go to events though, because that's where your community is.
Very true.
Like when you're at semis or you're at the games or you're at Wadapalooza or whatever, you're with your community then, and you give back so much in those times.
You're sweet. Yeah, it's funny because my community is worldwide.
Right.
But in the Midland community, there's nothing. So just very different dynamics.
Because the minute you come off the floor, like you're willing to talk to anybody.
Yeah.
And that's very different than not most of the athletes, but a good chunk of the athletes. Like they're so in a zone, it takes them time to like kind of come down from that.
That's so sweet. Well, I'm actually already planning. It's Texas, so I'm going to do it big. I'm probably going to bring like 5 Rogue shirts a day and just be on the lookout for like backstage interactions, fan interactions. Like who can I hand them out to every day? Just because like, I mean, how fun would that be? I mean, I love my shirt. How fun would it be to be like, oh, thank you for being here. Here's a Rogue shirt.
Well,
now wear it tomorrow and support me.
Well, speaking of, I've got mine on.
Mm-hmm.
And why I love having you is you're awesome at assisting me on the segue. So you're a Rogue athlete now. We talked about that briefly on the last show.
Yeah.
But now you have a shirt. It is so cool. I love the claw marks on the back with the lion peeking through.
Thank you.
In that like turquoise, it's very impactful.
Thank you. There's a bunch of different meanings to it. Unleash the beast inside. Like, I love lions, so there's a lion, but like sometimes you have to unleash the beast. Like I train alone. I do all this work. It means nothing if I don't go out there and show it off. So like unleash the beast. And also like, I feel like we each have something we might be afraid to like show or do inside. So it's just like, be brave, be confident and do it. But also, we love lions. So when Rogue approached, I was like, okay, this is my logo. I love lions. And they kind of came back. We're like, hey, with all respect, Lauren Fisher already has a lion shirt. So lion is off the table. Unless you can think of a creative way to do the lion different. And so how it all came together, us collabing back and forth, to me, it's beautiful.
See how nice you are. I'd be like, listen, Lauren Fisher is not the fittest American woman.
But it's Rogue. I'm like, at the end of the day, I'm like, I love you guys. Thank you for having me on board. I'll do a fish. I'll do a mermaid. I'll do a mom lifting a baby. To me, Rogue was the biggest honor because they're very selective, and who wouldn't love Rogue stuff? So I was just like, with all respect, I will do whatever you want, but I'm glad we came to an agreement and it's something creative and different and something I'm super, super proud of.
It's funny because Amy and I were actually reminiscing today on the roundtable show where back in the day, Rogue used to invite their athletes in to do stuff. And there'd be like a pop-up on Instagram like, hey, Sam Briggs is going to be here from 1 to 3. Come watch her work out or whatever. And because we live so close, we would like hop in the car and like fly down to whoever was in that week and watch them. But they haven't done like that in probably since pre-COVID.
Yeah. There was a time when the team series, I feel like because I remember vividly watching Camille LeBlanc and whoever was on her team do like snatches at 155 in the Rogue team series, which was like an off-season thing.
Oh, yeah. I was there.
Yeah. You were there?
Yeah. That speaking of Lauren Fisher, she was her teammate.
Was she your teammate? Okay.
And Josh Bridges and Dan Bailey.
Man, you remember better than I do.
Like I said, I was there.
Yeah, you were. So they used to have more opportunities, I'd say, to like host people there.
And it was cool because, especially during that team series, there wasn't a lot of pressure. So the athletes were just kind of hanging out, kind of like you are all the time. Like they're just sitting on a box talking to you.
Right.
You know, and they'd put that out on Instagram, but unless you're in Columbus, there's no way you're getting there.
No.
So there'd be like 20 people, tops, sitting there watching them do their workout. And
That's
so it's
the
very
best.
intimate and very kind of like a cool experience.
Yeah, and you got to live it.
Yeah. Yeah. My daughter was a huge Annie Thorsdottir fan. And the one year, Annie and Camille were on a team together and they announced it. And I went and got her out of school and took her down to meet Annie.
Is she still a CrossFit fan?
I think I pushed too hard when she was a middle teenager. But she just started like working out again at 22.
Okay. So she's finding it for herself.
Yeah. So after I laid off a little bit, she's kind of coming back. She's asked to borrow my gym equipment from my garage at times. So
Okay.
it's starting to like come back in.
Do you let her?
Yeah. If it's stuff I don't need in the coming week or so, or you know.
Cool.
And as long as she brings it back.
Yeah, I was gonna say that stuff isn't cheap either. To be like, Dad, I'm borrow your bump up plates and a bar. You're losing $2,000 right there.
Arielle, I'm your biggest fan. Sob.
I don't know. There's a lot of big fans out there. I'm gonna say prove it.
And that's from Dillon Loewen. Did this, I think.
Something like that.
Okay.
It'll be fun this year at the games because people are jumping on the Dillon train. So I'm fully expecting him to get overwhelmed with people stopping him, not stopping me.
So speaking of Dillon, again, great segue for me. I saw your story today where he has a theory of what Chad is going to be.
Yeah. What did you think?
I think it's a great way to do the workout. I think everything is logical. I don't think they're doing Chad outside.
No. Okay. This is for those that didn't hear Dillon's prediction. He thinks there'll be 2 heats. The bottom 20 men, bottom 20 women. You do 50 step ups on the pig, flip the pig. 50 step ups on the pig, flip the pig. And we'd go like from sideline to sideline. So it'd be 10 flips down, 10 flips back. And then we're done with Chad. The only reason he thinks that the pig is 20 inches high. Dave's mentioned that it's hard to do longer events in the Dickies Arena. So that's why we're assuming that. We could be way off, but Dave did reshare him saying that to his story today. So I don't know if that's him saying like, hey, good idea, or if it's like, man, they just figured it out.
And my basis for not thinking it's going to be that way is just as kind of out there as Dillon's guess. Like, in my opinion, if Dave shares it, he's just trying to throw people off.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. But Dave was on one of the interviews he did, and they asked him like what order or something he was, or what was his favorite or most excited for this year. He said event 1, event 2, Chad, the Farrington Field. So because of the way he said it, it made me think that Chad is event 3. And that would mean it's not Farrington Field.
Yeah.
Because that's going to be probably 6 on Friday night.
Yeah, I would assume so.
If we go by normal kind of pacing. But
I would hope you're right, because CrossFit already has the persona that we do way too many reps, we do crazy workouts, and we hurt ourselves. And so if you're opening an event up to the community to come watch, it's like, watch these people do 1,000 step ups, which is a lot of reps. Watch them do it with a backpack and watch them flip this odd object. Like, to me, to invite people in to jump on the CrossFit train, I don't think it's a good representation of what the affiliate should even be programming.
Yeah, my friend Corey, who's in the chat, he predicted on our roundtable today that you're all going to line up in a corral. It's Fort Worth, so they do the daily cattle drive.
Okay.
They're going to let their athletes go, then they're going to let the cows go and the bulls, and whoever gets to the site first gets the first boxes, and hopefully you avoid the bulls and the cows in the process.
Love it. The agility at its finest.
Yeah. And the
forth.
rucksacks will be red, so the bulls will be charging.
Yeah, we can take them off and fan them.
Yeah.
Maybe so.
Yeah.
That'd be funny.
Honestly, I think Dillon's prediction is about as sound of, like, I think that would be a great workout.
Yeah. In theory, it makes sense. We've done 20 pig flips. He said there's a twist. It makes sense in theory. And I wouldn't be mad about it just because it would break up the step ups a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because we did half Chad on Friday, this past Friday, and Blakely fell asleep watching us. Like, I'm just goofing, but I felt bored. I'm sure our neighbors were bored watching us. Like, there was nothing exciting about step ups.
Right. I think Dave likes the mental test of it.
Yeah.
That's what he's testing. But I just don't know how the fans get into that.
Right. So we'll see what the twist is. Hopefully it adds. I also thought of like the 100 style. Did you ever watch the Physical 100 on Netflix?
I have not.
Okay. Whoever's their programmer, super creative spectacles. Like really impressive if you ever want to go watch it. But I think it'd be fun even if like all the women go. The first 100 women, or not even 100 women, the first 35 people to the 200 step-ups advance. The first 30 people to the 300 step-ups advance. So there's like slowly this pyramid of like, at the end, there's only 2 people going for 50. Like where you can see there's cuts, so you have to go fast to advance to the next section. But I also think you could game it and only do half Chad and not be as fatigued as the person who wins it. So I don't see that happening either.
Yeah. That it's hard because everything you come up with, there's like a thing that Dave doesn't like.
Right.
Like he hated the fact, I think he even said it was either with you or Emily, where when Tia almost finished that workout in one pass and she only did 2 minutes of work and everybody else did 9.
Yeah.
Like that he was pissed about that for a long time.
Yeah. There was a flaw somewhere in the system.
Yeah. So you don't want someone doing 200 step-ups and another person doing 1,000.
Right. That's a big difference.
And penalize the winner doesn't seem right either.
No, exactly.
Denise Moore says, how hard is a pig flip wearing a ruck?
I would imagine it would be really hard. Yeah.
Pig flips are hard without a ruck.
Yeah. And even whenever I wore it Friday, like the ruck is uncomfortable. Like, rubbing on spots. So to add another element to do in there, it would beat me up, and I'm sure other people.
Corey's saying, is Scott drinking chocolate milk? I get that every time I have. This is actually a Paper Street Frost with oat milk.
With oat milk?
With oat milk. Yeah. That's
cool. It. Dillon tried one yesterday for the first time because he was like, everybody's been posting about the frost. I need to try them. But I think he expected them to be like a sugary Starbucks drink. And I'm like, no, it's just straight coffee. So once he added his half and half, he said it was perfect.
Yeah. Like if I'm at like an event and I pop the can, like I'll drink it straight.
Yeah.
If I'm like chilling in the middle of the afternoon, I want it kind of iced down and a little bit of oat milk.
A little bit happy.
Down easy.
Yeah.
But yeah, super cool. So enough about Chad. I think it's got enough run already this week.
Yeah, too much run.
You were named captain at FitFest today. Like you've been in the news a lot in the last 24 hours.
What else?
Well,
like
Dillon
prediction. Oh yeah.
All that's
Okay. Yeah. So they approached me a while ago, and it was one of those that's like, man, if I'm healthy and able to, why not go to the UK again? And then to be a team captain, I thought was like icing on the cake. Pretty cool.
So we talked last year. You loved FitFest.
Loved it. Yeah.
So is it more of an exhibition or a competition?
Exhibition. Because at the end of the day, there's no prize money. There's no, like, this doesn't add to our season or anything as far as credentials wise. It's just, let's throw down and be fit. But I mean, we're all competitors at heart. So we can say there's nothing on the line, but we were still strategizing and trying to win as best as possible.
Well, and from what I understand, the European crowd or the UK crowd just loved all of you all.
Oh, they were so sweet. They're the most like respectful audience because they just come up to you and be like, "Oh, Arielle, dear, can I bother you for a picture?" And just in their sweet accents, and they're so polite and kind that I was just like, "Of course, yes." And they're just very respectful, I found. Not that Americans aren't, they just ask in a different way.
Yeah. It's the accent. They can get away with so much
Yeah.
with that accent.
It's the accent. The only thing that sucks about FitFest, with first world problems, the flight over there is 9 to 10 hours. So like just sitting on an airplane that long, it destroyed me. My back was hurting. It was a full flight. So I had the middle seat and we flew at night. So I was supposed to sleep, but I didn't. So just I was like, my back hurts. I'm tired. I'm hungry. I want to walk on land. That's the only negative.
I cannot even imagine that. Last year after Pasadena, I got the middle seat on the way back from California, and it was like 6 hours, and I wanted to just crawl out of my skin.
Isn't it bad?
So bad.
Yeah. But me and Dillon, like, we don't mess around when we travel. So we didn't sleep that night and then stayed up for an additional 12 hours because it was daytime in London. So we never got jet lag because when we went to bed, we were passed out and then woke up at 9 a.m. London time and handled it like champs. But also, we didn't have Blakely with us. So I think it would be harder to adjust with a kid than it would be two adults.
Sure. Going west is easy for me. Coming back east, if I am west too long, coming back I get jet lag.
Interesting.
But going west, I never have a problem.
Okay. Will you have a problem coming to Texas?
No.
Not
That's only an hour. It's only an
Oh,
hour difference, so like nothing.
No.
And I'm more of a night owl anyway, so that hour actually feeds into my normal state more.
Okay.
So, yeah. So another question I had for you is, with all of this success and all that's going on, do you have a hard time saying no to everything that's going on in your life now?
No, I think I've been really good with boundaries. Like, it seems like I have a lot, but in this season, in my everyday life of June and July, I've said no to a few things so I can have peace at home and peace during training. But I think as far as the big events like FitFest, potentially, hopefully Rogue, some of those things are once in a lifetime experience. And I'm also very aware that success in the sport does not last long. So I'm like, man, I want to soak up as much as I can as long as I'm healthy mentally, physically, and my family's on board too as well.
So hypothetically, you have a great CrossFit Games. You podium again. If we're gonna dream this out, let's dream it out.
Put it out there.
Then you finish that, so that gives you the automatic bid to Rogue.
Right.
You have the Wodapalooza SoCal with North America versus the world.
Mm-hmm.
If you were asked to do that, that could be on the table. Then you have Rogue coming up. Then you have FitFest. Then possibly Wodapalooza Miami, and that competition, which you have gone to the last few years.
Yeah, isn't that a lot?
Right. Would you be able to do all that, or would you have to say no to something?
I think right now in this moment, I say bring it on, because I don't know when my last competition will be. And I'm fearful, like, let's say, unfortunately, it's next season. I would regret not going to Scotland for Rogue, not going to the UK again. But I would say, like, if I'm looking at those in order of importance, if I got invited to the SoCal, that looks like fun. Not too much pressure. It's a team thing. Rogue, I would prioritize because it's Rogue in Scotland over FitFest, unfortunately. So I would just have to look at like what's most important. But the biggest thing is my family is the dictator. So with me, Dillon, and Blakely healthy, great, on the same page, cool, we'll make it happen.
Yeah, I would be like you because I would say yes to everything. That's just who I am as a person.
Right.
And you never know when you're going to get the opportunity again. So why not take advantage of it when you can?
Right.
But I think my big question is, can athletes of the future survive seasons like that?
See, that's a good point. I think if you're trying to peak for all of those, absolutely not. But I enjoy CrossFit. Sometimes I don't enjoy games training because games training is different than CrossFit, in my opinion. I enjoy fitness all year round. So for me, I don't feel like it's that big a deal because I'm not going to be games fit, but I'll be fit enough to do enough.
Here's a good question. Denise Moore, who is a Masters Games athlete, would Arielle consider competing in her 50s and 60s as a Masters athlete?
I think as of right now, I'm not considering Masters, but that could change. I'm assuming, like in my perfect world, when I'm done with the CrossFit Games, I'll know it, I'll feel it, it'll be obvious. Me and Dillon will pursue maybe having a few more kids, opening the affiliate back there, and my focus will no longer be me, and it'll be other people.
Wad Zombie says, I think they can as long as it's not games level volume.
Yeah.
Makes Wadapalooza SoCal doable, and the other games athletes will be in the same boat.
I'd agree with that. But that would be a fear of, is it too much? Do I need to just do nothing? But I also know I like having something to look forward to. Seasons of nothing, I almost get bored or I lose motivation. Like I like semi-training for something.
Just back on Denise's question real quick. I look at someone like Val Vobrel, who is very much like you. Or you are like her because she came first.
Yeah, she did.
She's a podium athlete. She's a teacher full-time, mother, and then she kind of walked away from the sport for a little bit. And now this year she's coming back in the 40 to 44-year-old division.
Fun.
So like I could see you doing that. Like doing the things, be the mom, take that time, and then like 10 years down the road going, hey, let's take a swing.
Yeah, I think that'd be fun. I'd like to still be involved in CrossFit in some capacity, whatever that looks like. Whether it's just owning the affiliate, helping them out where they need to, announcing, maybe backstage at a CrossFit booth, getting people to sign up for their O1, something.
Yeah, awesome. Jeffrey Birchfield, fellow Texan. By the way, Arielle, I work out in my tent.
I would love a picture of that. I'm picturing like a pointy tent that you could buy at Academy.
I know Jay Birch a little bit. So he used to work out in his garage. His family moved.
Okay.
I'm wondering if he's forced to be in a tent while they're fixing up the house.
That's commitment.
So just guessing. Jonathan Ortega says a yurt.
A yurt. I think Ortega will be here next week. Do you know Erin? She's a photographer. Erin Murphy.
I would probably know her to see her.
Okay. I know Erin for sure has booked a ticket. I don't know if Ortega has. Maybe he could let us know in the comments. But I've always wanted to do a day in the life games training because I feel like my day, even from what I'm hearing other people talk on podcasts, like other athletes get to nap. Somebody makes all their food for them. They get all this body work done. And I'm like, I want people to see my day in the life. Give them a little taste. So Erin will be here next week to film that for me. Should be fun. Yeah, Ortega will be there too. Cool. And they're actually going to be staying in the guest room. So it'll honestly be our first guests to stay with us, minus my mom and dad and Dillon's mom, but that's family. That doesn't count.
Yeah. And Jonathan, did they both shoot you at semis?
Yeah, they.
Yeah, I knew Ortega was there.
Yeah, and I had seen him around the scene a bit, but that was the best thing I ever did because some of the content they got was perfect. It was great.
Denise says, I always think this is my last year, but then just when I think I'm out, they pull me back in.
Exactly. But I will say this has been the mentally hardest games training I've had in my games training experience. So I'm trying to decipher why that is. I don't know if it's because I'm like, oh, I want to do good. I want to be better than last year when last year I was really good. Or it's just I'm in the thick of it and games training is hard. So I'm just like, okay, keep pushing through. We're almost there. But I don't remember it being this hard to do the work in previous years.
You know what I'm really bad at? I told you this was going to be 30 minutes and we're already past 30 minutes.
It's okay. I'm content. Blakely's playing with slime. I'm
I
good.
really only have like one big question. Because I tried to keep the questions down for this one, knowing that I'm really bad at it.
No, you're good.
So you went to semifinals. You went to Carson.
Yeah.
And really, there's just a series of questions about this. But so you go there. There's this epic, nostalgic place. What was that like? And how disappointing was it that the crowd was low?
I think the venue is made to be filled. So when it's not filled, it's really obvious that it's not. So that was disappointing. But the highlight of semifinals were the volunteers. And unfortunately, unless you were there, you couldn't see it on TV. You couldn't experience it. But like one example was when we went out for the run, which we were supposed to do the berm, but like that whole thing, the whole tunnel was lined with volunteers. So every time we went out or came in, they're just all there like, let's go, you're great, keep it up. So where the crowd wasn't there, the volunteers that showed up, they were like the best cheers, the best support system backstage and on the floor. So people say like, oh, the crowd sucked. Like, well, what's your perspective? The people who paid to show up or the people that were there for free volunteering their time? Because the volunteers were the best crowd I've ever heard.
Yeah. I wish I could have got there. I wish they would have given me enough notice to get there. Because at Syndicate, it was a good crowd at Syndicate.
Yeah, it looked legit, but never in the Coliseum. I don't know what you'd even call it, on the stadium floor. You know, sometimes you can just feel the that was never felt, but it looked like that was felt at Syndicate. Yeah.
Well, at the games, it's going to be insane because like Madison was what, 4,500 maybe capacity. And now you're moving to double that.
But they still need more room.
I know. It sold out in like a day.
I know. My poor mom, she waited to get tickets until I qualified. And that's when they're like 1,000 a piece. And she's like, I don't know about this. But yeah they're ridiculous.
That's got to be rough. Yeah, I can't even imagine but if it's my daughter, like you got to do it, right?
Yeah, and we can get into that a whole nother time, but it's like if you want to be there, you'll be there. But I also get that it's super expensive.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember we don't have to get in that. I'm already past time. So you do the weekend. And I heard you say somewhere that it was a little bit of maybe it was either you or Alex. Everything's morphing together with all these Dave interviews.
You're good.
And it's that like there was a little bit of a disappointment coming in third. Was it you or Alex that said, because you really you wanted to win?
Yeah. So I'll say I definitely went into the weekend wanting to win and training to win, but I also, it's my own fault. I also did not practice any of them, and I chose not to practice any of them because I don't feel the need to. I felt confident enough that I'd qualify. So I was like, man, if I'm supposed to win, I'll do it right the first time and it'll happen. So there was a little bit of disappointment. I didn't win, but I also expected to get fourth. And so whenever they called me at third, I was ecstatic. So there was like Friday and Saturday, the realization of like, okay, if you wanted to win, you probably should have prepared better. Okay, let's try and just make podium. So like I had the pity party Friday, Saturday. Sunday, I was ecstatic to get third. But it's no fault other than my own.
So when we talked last year after semis, there was disappointment because you kind of had the win.
Right.
And you said like at the end you didn't have that push that you should have had to take it.
Yeah.
And then that seemed to like you seem to have cured that by the games.
I did. Yeah. And that's another thing where I'm kind of at peace. I felt like I gave my all in every workout. I just didn't strategize them how I should. And like the rope climb event, I should have had a different strategy, so it didn't go great. But that's what kind of gives me peace going into this year. I know what games training entails to do well last year, and I'm doing the same thing to prepare for the games. So it's like, yeah, I got third. I would have wanted first, but I wasn't even training Saturdays to prepare for semis. Now I'm training Saturdays and like I'm upping everything I need to. So
what data did you take from semis that you needed to incorporate in your own programming?
Yeah, one thing that's great, I do have a strength programmer named Brian. So he'll watch the semifinals and be like, okay, your grip fatigue is weak, your pulling fatigue is weak. So he does the muscle side of it for me, and that's what I'm working on in my strength cycles this time. As far as cardio goes, I look at like what held me back. Was it the bike or was it the box jump over technique, and try and just improve those going forward. But for me, I always just try and focus on like getting my heart rate to be fast, because there's so many little things that I feel like people overcomplicate. And it's like, okay, if I'm working out every day, I lay on the floor exhausted after it, it's a good day. Don't overcomplicate it. So for me, it's just always trying to improve the cardio.
We're friends, so I'm just going to say it outright. You had some really good workouts, right? You won in a workout. You came in second. But the biggest surprise for me was the snatch ladder.
Yeah, that one was bad, wasn't it? And my back,
good.
yeah,
not
my
at all what I
back,
expected from you.
yeah, and I know I'm stronger and I know I'm capable, but on that workout, my back was on fire. I don't know if it was like hinging too much or standing them up, leaning a little bit forward, but it got to where on the 155, 165, 175, I just had to stand there and like lean back, stretch out my back, because I'm like, I'm capable to pick this up, but my back hurts. Not a pain, like an injury, but just like I had done 5,000 deadlifts and my back was just screaming at me. So yeah, that one surprised me too. And I mentioned that to my strength coach. So we're working on building up the lower back, but that definitely surprised me, that event.
Yeah. As someone who's watched you pretty much the whole second half of your career, I was surprised.
Yeah, same.
And I moderate barbell, you're good.
Yeah, and that's why I was like, hey, it was one event. Shake it off. This is something about this was a weakness. I personally don't know, but my strength guy is smart enough to know. So he's trying to help me fix that with a few things.
Is there something mental you can take from that you had to dial in just to survive that one?
Yeah. I think it's just perspective. Like at the end of that workout, I was like, man, that, in my opinion, was the best I could do, but I don't feel like it's my best, but I'm healthy. Nothing hurts. I can walk away from it. I'm still in a qualifying position for the games. Who cares?
I'm going to finish up with a chat question. Let's say Milano, which workout do you think you would have benefited from practice?
The rope climb workout. That one ate me up, unfortunately. I didn't go to a gym with a taller rope, so I didn't even practice 15-foot rope climbs since the games last year. So that's my own fault. I didn't practice like the bike to a taller rope climb transition. And then like 10 seconds before stepping on the floor, I changed my box jump over technique. So just like a bunch of rookie mistakes. And then I ripped my pants round 3 of 7. So I had to change the way I came down. So there were just a lot of things that should have gone better. If I would have practiced it, I probably would have learned. But at the end of the day, I'm like, it's semifinals. I'm confident enough I'm going to qualify. I don't have to show the world that I can get first place at semifinals. Nobody cares. Nobody's going to remember, and they're going to remember the games.
Yeah. The drama is all at the cut line.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So nobody's like, it's even hard to remember where you finished other than like if you were 6th, 7th, and 8th.
Exactly. Even at the games, if I'm looking at the games, like who got 5th through 10th last year, nobody really knows the order. So I'm trying to like mentally tell myself, it doesn't really matter. Top 10 at the games is great, but all they say is top 10, you know?
I know Dillon watches everything.
Yeah, he does.
Do you see the rankings? Do you see the spin poll? Do you?
You know what? Dillon was really into it. I would say the first 2 years of my career, but we've noticed that it's people with no degrees, no statistics, no data. It's just their opinion based on their gut feeling. So we just kind of were sick of this one person had a gut feeling I was going to get 10th, and then I got 3rd at the games. And we're like, okay, this person doesn't even know what they're talking about. They don't see what I train. They don't do this. So it got to where it would be like, put some respect on our name. What the heck? And we're like, you know what? These people they're just talking to talk, to have something to talk about. So we actually this year have not paid attention to them at all.
I think that's a good evolution in your career.
Yeah.
You know,
and it kind of stinks because I'm like, man, I did so good last year and it's still not enough to have respect on my name to be placed up there, you know? So I'm like, you know what? We know what we did last year. We don't need to listen to them.
It's funny because when I look at it, one, there's the sport is getting so congested with great athletes.
Right.
Right. So really, you're taking a dart and throwing it at a dartboard for some of this.
Right.
But my view is like, you deserve to be in the top 5 till you're not in the top 5.
Yeah. And then you re-go from there.
Yeah. Like you were there last year. You deserve to be there. Alex has only ever beat you at semis. So I don't think she deserves to jump you.
Mm.
And so like, that's how I start breaking things down.
Right.
You can't, a lot of people take one event, like they'll look at semis and change their whole 25.
Exactly. When really, you know where the real work is, but you got to be able to back it up. I could say all this stuff all day, but if I can't back it up, it means nothing.
Larry Young has it just right. Without knowing the events, it's all a guess anyway.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, honestly, you don't know who's showing up healthy or sick or injured. Like, I feel like that has to play a factor as well.
I'm going to finish this just with one little jab at CrossFit Media. Wad Zombie said it perfectly. There we go. That's why I'm upset they didn't put Arielle on the ESPN poster they put up today. She's from Texas.
I know. Stuff like that I do see, and I 100% thought the same thing, but I can't dwell on it. It's like, okay, maybe one day I'll get some respect, maybe, you know, but it's like, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. But yeah, Texas, podium.
Fittest American woman.
Yeah.
ESPN. Come on.
Right. But at the end of the day, Dillon knows, and that's all that matters. Like, if I have to think of my family unit, Blakely could care less. Me and Dillon know what happened last year.
Yeah. I do too. I'm a big fan.
You do too. Remember, we even talked about it last year before the games.
Well, with that, I will now end this 13 minutes later than I anticipated, or 14 minutes later than I anticipated. With that, we will let you get back to your day. Thank you, everybody, for joining in. You guys are the best. Arrow, you're the best. We'll see everybody next time on the Clydesdale Media Podcast.
Thanks
Bye, guys.
for having me.